The first one is the Maiden Love. This is a level 2 light attribute spellcaster effect monster. It has 400 attack and 300 defense. 1. Opponent's monsters that can attack this card must attack it. 2. It cannot be destroyed by battle. And 3. If this card battles an opponent's monster, at the end of the damage step, you can activate one of these effects. Either place one maiden counter on one face-up monster your opponent controls, or take control of one opponent's monster with a maiden counter. This card doesn't have particularly high attack or defense, but that's not necessary for it to have, provided it has these other effects. This came out from the original season of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and the whole story behind it was that this girl who ended up in the Slifer Red Dorm had some sort of crush on Zane Truesdale, and in order to kind of get into the academy, she lied about her age. She was incredibly intelligent, but she was of an age where she shouldn't have been at the academy. She was just far too young. She managed to get her way in and started kind of sneaking around Zane's dorm, trying to take things, and, you know, sniffing cards for whatever reason. She was kind of dealt with by it, by being challenged by Jaden to find out what her motive was. And actually, Zane and Alexis ended up kind of snooping on the duel, looking and finding out that, that she kind of had a crush on Zane. First ability on this card just forces your opponent's monsters to attack onto this card. That is kind of necessary, otherwise you'd have to be using very old school cards such as Battlemania, which was a card used in 5Ds. Or you would even have to use Staunch Defender, and you'll see a card like this was used in episode, I think it was 42, by Jane Yuki, and that was a duel against the Dual Spirit Dark Magician Girl, to force the Magician's Valkyria to attack into his elemental hero Flame Wingman, to use its own effect. Second ability is also quite vital on this card, as it cannot be destroyed by battle. This will help you to keep this card out, but keep in mind you are still taking the battle damage, so you will have to use things like, I believe Spirit's Barrier is a good continuous trap card, which prevents you from taking any battle damage, provided you have a monster face up on your... Well, if you have a monster in your field, you're no longer taking any damage, so the two cards pair quite well. Third ability, as soon as an opponent's monster happens to have battled, either they gain a maiden counter on a monster your opponent controls, and it's nice that you get to choose which monster. It doesn't have to be the monster that battles, it can be another of your opponent's monsters. And the other ability is to take control of one opponent's monster with the main counter. So you have to use one ability before the other to get this card to really set up. You are going to have your opponent go into this card, and you're also going to have to use this on your turn to battle into your opponent's cards in order to then steal their monsters. It's okay, but I believe this would have been fine if it had been released back in 2003, when it might have had some viability. As it is now, there are so many cards that just outright negate this effect, and can just walk over this card.